Hello there, and welcome to Trope on a Rope, the show where we delve into the tropes that have come to define cinema and see which films are fine examples of their type and which are a load of old rope. Over the next few weeks, we'll be looking at a curious type of film that has become more and more prevalent over the last few years as studios vie for not more money, but all of the money. And there is no greater golden goose than the movie franchise. But franchises are a fickle thing. Not every franchise reaches the lofty heights of your Star Wars, Marvel, or film where Vin Diesel punches a car in the face. Some franchises slowly fall apart like the DCEU. Some limp to their own demise like Fantastic Beasts, and some biff it straight out of the gate. And it's these franchise false starts that we gather here to celebrate. Grand plans that came to nothing, and a cheeky call to adventure that we all ignored. So get ready for 2+ hours of exposition for a world we'll never come back to. My name's Jeff, and I'm joined by Mr. Colin Gerard. What's up, Earthman?
Hello. Yeah, not too much. I'm actually at my other work at the moment, so that's why the background's shiny.
Also, echoey.
Oh, is it?
I gather you're in a large room.
Yeah, and it's empty. So, oh shit, it is. I can hear the echo of myself now. I wish you hadn't pointed that. Wish you hadn't pointed that out. It's going to piss me off every day.
Right, this week we're doing John Carter.
Yes we are. What a wonderful film.
John Carter follows the story of John Carter, which is convenient because that's what the movie's called. What's weird is that hardly anyone calls him by his name. They call him names like Captain, Earthman, Virginia, Dotar Sojat, the man from Jasum, and later on Jadak, but hardly ever by his name. Not as much as you would think, given the film's named after him. You'd think it'd be on the tip of everyone's tongue and at the front of your mind, but no, at the end you could be forgiven for forgetting his name. Luckily they show a title card with his name on it right at the end to help you out. Sorry, I'm getting hung up on the name thing. The story is about a dude who goes to Mars and bangs a Mars chick. I forget his name. This was a tough watch. I can sit through any film like this beginning to end and watch the whole thing in one sitting. This took me 3 goes.
Can you think of any reason why?
I sat down on the first evening. I watched them in the evening, and usually after the previous episode, I'm like, all right, okay, I've got to watch this next film, so right, I'll get it out of the way. Then I can spend like the week thinking about it. And then, so I sat down and I started watching it, and I got an hour into it, and then I thought, is this how I want to spend my evening? If I spend the entire evening watching this film, that's a wasted evening. So I stopped and just did other things.
I think that that thought that you had, that happened to me subconsciously. I was watching it, then all of a sudden I wasn't watching it. I don't know what happened, but suddenly I was in a different room. It was still playing in the other room.
I got to the bit, after they leave the I've got the names of the green aliens.
Tharks.
Tharks, thank you. Well, after he leaves the Tharks and they're traveling across the desert, I got to that bit and just went, yeah, no, I'm done for today. Cheers. Yeah,
that's a coincidence. That's where I stopped watching it. It's where he pushes her off that weird animal thing, and she's like, no, don't leave me. I can't marry him. That is the point where I stopped it. I vanished and appeared in another room without knowing how I got there.
I managed another half an hour the next day, and then the third day, I put it back on, and it remembers where you left it off, and I was like, right, I've done like an hour and a half of this film. There's only half an hour left, and like maybe 10 minutes of that will be the credits. So I turned it on, and there was a fucking hour left.
Mark's I actually like the actor. The Thurn guy, shape-shifting alien, very grey. Was it Mark Strong? Strong?
That's Mark Strong, yeah.
Yeah, I really like him, usually.
Oh, no, he's good in this. I mean, he's probably the best part of this.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I really like him. So it just feels like, why the fuck are you in this movie? Did you not notice that this is clearly a shit movie?
I tell you what, on that point, there's a lot of famous people in this. Like, they threw money at this. Like, Bryan Cranston's in it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's in this.
Is he?
He's one of the what are they called, the green ones?
Thugs.
Tharks. He's the leader.
Oh, that kind of in it. So just his voice.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. That's why I didn't.
I assume he's running around in a mocap suit somewhere. But yeah, Disney threw some fucking money at this. Like, the special effects, like, this film's like 10 years old. It looks like it came out now. Like, all the special effects really hold up. Mostly, there's a couple of, like, green screen issues, especially when he's, like, flying that little speeder thing around the moving city. But apart from that, everything else is quite pucker.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really point to anything bad in the CG at all, really.
But it's just baffling that they threw money at this. Why this?
Is John Carter like based on a comic book series or something, or is it just like a made up? Just
it's based on a book from the 1912. It's a book called Princess of Mars from 1912. Yeah, it's fairly obscure outside of America, but in America, I wouldn't even say well known, actually. It's known of.
Okay, so because that's the only reason I could think they might want to throw money at it, if it was like based on some cult classic comic book that has a massive following, which is usually the reason they start a franchise, right? Because they've already got a base of supporters.
Yeah, no, odd. It's one of those things. I think for the director, it was a passion project because he had grown up reading those books and was just like, always wanted to make it. And then Disney went, yeah, we need a franchise. Fuck it, here, have some money. That said, Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb are not too bad. Rotten Tomatoes is 52%. And the IMDb is 6.6.
I mean, 52% I kind of agree with. Like, it wasn't so bad that it was... Because when something's so bad, I actually like that movie. Like Mystery Men. Shit movie. Fucking love it. It's not that... It's not that bad that it's good. It's kind of just... meh.
Everything at the beginning of the film. Yeah, there's a little bit of a firefight. It doesn't really matter who gives a shit what happens. Everything at the beginning is the end of the story, so we'll just circle back to that later. But the stuff in Virginia, the bits with Bryan Cranston, we meet him. He's in a bar. He's trying to find gold.
A golden cave.
Yeah, he's a dude looking for gold in the Old West.
Ex-cavalryman.
He's a Confederate captain. And Bryan Cranston comes in, and Bryan Cranston is a Union soldier who wants to enlist him to help subdue the Apache.
And John Carter hates both of them, Apaches and the soldiers. They don't explain why straight away.
Yeah, he's not into fighting. He just wants to find gold and to fuck off. And yeah, they don't mention why, but he's quiet and brooding and fuck authority, that kind of bollocks, and that seems to be most of his personality, which is fuck authority. And I'm like, okay, cool, that it?
Yeah, but they kind of hint that obviously something bad happened to him during the war, which is why he hates everyone, but like they don't actually mention it. This is kind of allude to it slightly.
But yeah, whilst Bryan Cranston is trying to recruit him, and why are you trying to recruit this one guy? He's fuck him. Who cares about this guy? He tries to escape a couple of times, which is fun, but he keeps getting punched in the face and knocked out, which happens a lot in this movie. John Carter gets knocked out and wakes up in random places, like 5 times in this.
Yep, for us, he's a really good superhero.
He's just like, oh, what's that? And then gets hit in the face and then falls asleep and then wakes up somewhere random. And you're like, you could have easily died like 6 times.
Why didn't anyone kill him while he was asleep?
Anyway, in the middle of the desert with Bryan Cranston, they get chased by the Apache, and he finds the magic cave, the golden cave. This cave, which, if we're honest, isn't very hidden.
No, it's pretty much easy to stumble upon it.
I mean, the Apache back away from it like it's magic and shit, because this is the what they call the Thurn.
Yeah.
The pale dudes. This is the Thurn's, I don't know, transport cave. It's their transporter room from Star Trek.
Yeah, is there a transporter room in? I can't remember, on Mars.
No, you just wake up in a field.
Yeah, but I mean, like when you want to come back to Earth, does he have to go to a special place like he does on Earth, or is it?
You just need the medallion thing.
So why do you needed the special cave?
Exactly, right?
Yeah, I know. What is the point of the fucking cave?
In this cave, he meets a Thurn, who's an alien god, whatever the fuck. It's got a special medallion, and if you say certain words into the medallion, you get transported to Mars. The idea is that this cave is somehow special, like a transporter room, but it's not. You just need the medallion, because later he goes back and forth with just the medallion. You only need the medallion to do any of this bollocks. And also, you don't get transported, you get projected. So all the time that he's on Mars, he's not. His body's actually just lying in the cave.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Is it like his soul or his essence is over there? Does that mean that everyone else who lives on Mars are spirits? But otherwise, how do they interact with John Carter if he's just an essence? And if he's not just an essence, then why is it like a fax machine? They made a copy of him on Mars.
Yeah, that's what they say in the movie. Though it's a copy, but your original body has to be alive still on Earth. So while he's like fucking around on Mars, in this cave, he's just lying there, and it's just a cave out in nature. And maybe the Apache don't want to go into the cave, but the cave isn't very well hidden, so anyone could come across it at any time. There's a dying dude in the doorway. Animals can clearly go in. Like if an animal comes in and starts like nibbling at you whilst you're projected over in Mars, what happens?
Do you get little chunks of flesh just disappear from your arm as he?
Yeah, do body parts? Yeah, that's a good point. Do body parts start disappearing like in Looper?
Also, if he's like Looper, that's a good one. If his body's on Earth, right, and it's not allowed to die.
Yeah.
So does the body need to eat? Can it starve to death? Because he seems to be there on Mars for a pretty long time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Do you eat? Do you need to drink? Do you is he just lying there shitting and pissing himself? What's going on?
I thought of a possible reason for the cave.
Yeah.
In the cave, there is you know how in like adventure movies you find the key that opens the door, and there's an amulet shaped indent on or like a rock, right? Maybe it's the charging station for the necklace.
Yeah. That's a good point. But things that happen on Earth to his body should slightly wake him up. You know, like in Avatar, during the final fight, and like Jake Sully is he's fighting someone, but then they go, right, hang on, his body's over there in the pod that projects them into the avatars. So they go after that instead, and so he's fighting in his avatar. He's fighting in his avatar body, but as they're destroying the machine that makes the avatar thing work, he starts like half waking up and jumping between the two bodies. Like that kind of shit should happen, right? Like if something like an animal starts pissing on his head, or a bear walks into the cave and starts making sweet, sweet love to him, he should like half wake up.
Yeah.
Or the Thurn, who spend most of the film trying to go after him, just go to that cave.
Yeah, because that's what they end up. That's what their plan becomes at the end, right?
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what, guys? We should just kill his other body. Good idea, Dave. Why didn't we think of that 3 months ago?
Where's this other body? Oh, in that cave that we own. Just go there, find him on the floor, teabag him for a bit, just for the funsies of it, and then fucking kill him.
Strom didn't try to recruit him or anything, or like nothing like that. So there wasn't a reason to keep him alive either.
Yeah, no.
In fact, they hated his presence there because he was ruining their plan. So they actually, the whole time, they did want him to die.
And also, the magic cave is made of gold because he's always trying to get back to it. Someone would have found that.
Someone did find it, Jeff. John Carter found it.
So we get to Basum, which is fucking Mars. But they call it Basum. Earth is Jasum. He gets to Mars. He wakes up in essentially a field at the 20-minute mark, and he has these weird jumping abilities. And that seems to be his only special power. Like, he can't... Well,
Well, he is super strong.
yeah, they give him strength. They give him strength because they say something about bone density, and then he can jump and shit.
Yeah, so when Strong talks to him in the back of that carriage and he explains why he can jump. Oh, because your bones are less dense and therefore your body's super light, so you can jump. Why would that make him strong?
Yeah, right.
I can kind of like get my head around why he can jump. Okay, fair enough. We'll give you that one. Why is he strong?
Speak for yourself on the "we'll give you that," because I'm not even giving him the jumping thing.
Yeah, I'm being super generous, but like, yeah, the strong thing has literally, there's not even a shit explanation for it.
The jumping thing, I'm not giving him the jumping thing because one, he seems to be able to jump like he borders on Superman. It's like there's a bit later on in the film where they're like, "Oh, can you jump me over to that building over there?" And he's like, "Jump to that building over there?" Bitch, you were jumping up into like hover ships and stuff like 10 minutes ago. I don't know why you're suddenly scared of heights.
Yeah, like if you like, the first thing he does was jump miles into the air. Then he falls miles down and lands. So apparently, landing not really a problem. So why are you scared of heights?
I was annoyed by the jumping thing so much that I googled it, and Mars has a third of our gravity, so I don't think it really matters. It wouldn't be that much.
Maybe you can jump 3 times further than me.
Yeah, like you'd be shit hot at the long jump, but you can't jump in onto airships and start have at it in midair. Yeah, fuck his powers. And like he's not like invincible, and he can't like dodge bullets and shit. So yeah, no, just shoot him. He can't dodge anything. He gets like this scene, like 5 minutes into like the Mars bit, he gets punched in the face and knocked out again.
Yeah, and then even though that is true, and he keeps getting punched in the face, then he decides to go and frickin' slaughter the entire Thark army single-handedly.
Yeah.
You suddenly became like fucking Superman, and he destroys the entire army on his own.
I forgot that bit happened, but yeah, he gets he meets the Thark and Willem Dafoe's character, and they start calling him Virginia because they just go with the last word that he said, and that goes into this: why is this film called John Carter if no one calls him John Carter? He gets knocked out again. He gets taken back to the Thark village, and he gets babble-fished. Babble-fished? How do you say that?
Babblefish, I think.
So he drinks some magic potion, and it allows us not to spend the rest of the film reading subtitles, because now everyone speaks English, or he understands whatever. You're like, all right, okay, cool, no more subtitles.
So handy potion to have for a world that doesn't often get visited by strangers.
I hadn't thought of that. I will say, for all of the cultures on this world, there's slightly too many made-up words. All the character names are like double-barreled for some reason. Jadak, which basically means leader or king. Just say that.
Or I was thinking like partner maybe, or good buddy. I don't know, because like the leader of the first leader of the Thark, they're friends. He says it to John Carter, calls him Jedak.
No, that's Dotar Sojat.
No, near the end he calls him Jedak as well.
Yeah, because Willem Dafoe at the beginning, he's Jedak, and then that big one with the broken tusk, he becomes Jedak. The girl's father is Jedak of the humans, and then Dominic West is the Jedak of the other humans. Just say king.
Yeah. I actually, that went over my head. I was like, what the fuck is Jedak? Why does people keep saying Jedak?
He's with the Thark in the Thark village and just hanging out. The human war comes up. I'm just going to call them humans because they're just people. There's a battle that happens overhead between these two warring factions of the humans.
Helium.
So the warring humans there's 2 cities. City 1, Helium. That's the static one. It's just a normal city. It's on top of a mesa, and they're the good guys. Yeah? Blue. They colour code these bastards. They're the blue ones. And then City 2 is called Zidanga. That's the moving city. They're the bad guys apparently, and they're red. All humans in this are referred to as red men.
I thought they were referred to as like the white apes or something.
John Carter is referred to as a white ape, but all the main humans are called red men.
Yeah.
Because everyone looks like a British person who's now living in Spain.
Is that the reason?
Yeah, everyone's like that sunburnt leather. Everyone's like sunburnt leather, so the green, the Tharks, they call all the humans red men. Even though within the humans, there's two sides, one's blue, one's red. So, fuck it. Don't colour code the two sides and then call all of them red. So, two human sides, right? And then there's the Thark. So, basically, you've got two sides of white people with technology fighting between each other, whilst a primitive tribal group that is literally shown as not being human watch on from the sidelines, set at the same time as American Civil War. Not very subtle in its...
Whatever are you referring to, Jeffrey?
It's very on its nose. You've just taken like real world things.
You've just come from the Wild West where something similar was happening.
Yeah, right. And to make the tribal group literally not human is that's a bit crook.
It's a bit degrading.
Anyway, so they're fighting in the sky over it, and John Carter sees this, and John Carter chooses a side. He gets involved in the battle, and the side that he chooses, he bases on boobs.
That's fair. Well, yeah. So
it's my main problem with this film. He gets involved and he picks a side based on a pretty girl.
Yeah. In fairness, though, apparently his logic was correct because they are the good guys. So
are they?
Yeah.
What does the Zidanga do that's bad?
He keeps turning up and shooting people with lasers.
In a war.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be a war if you hadn't been shooting people with lasers.
They don't say who started it. The history of the war is given to you by the helium people.
True. I just assumed that... Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, because you're eating that helium propaganda, motherfucker. Because when he goes to Zidanga, like when he's walking through the streets, talking with Mark Strong, they just seem like normal people.
Yeah.
I mean, Dominic West, yeah, he seems like a bit of a wrong one, but he doesn't do anything like full out evil. I mean, yeah, he twirls his moustache a little bit, but he's not like fucking mowing people down outside of in actual battles against actual soldiers, which is war. That's fine.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you're right. They don't really give a reason why why do the two sides hate each other? They're both humans.
They say, like, the helium says, if Zidanga wins, then it will be the end of Bassoon. How? Why? How possibly? What are they doing that would cause the end of the world? Like, that, even that weapon that the Thurn give him, it's just an advanced gun. They all have guns. It's just a nicer gun. That's all it does.
Yeah, it's not like a nuke or anything. And if it was a nuke, you would have won.
Yeah.
So why? Yeah, I suppose they just basically spoon feed you a premise, and you're supposed to go, all right, fine, I'll accept that.
I mean, what is he doing, and what could he do to end the fucking world?
And I mean, normally I would at this point I'd say it had something to do with the Thurn. They're worried about the Thurn, but actually, everyone in Helium don't even know about the Thurn. They don't even believe they exist.
They don't know anything about this. I mean, the entire fucking planet's a desert. It's got 3 cities in it and nothing else. What are you worried about?
That's another thing. About the resources. That's the first thing they mention is that they don't have any resources, right?
Yeah.
And yet they've just flying around in freaking holoships and suits of armor, and they've got literally everything they need except for resources.
But they say Zidanga's bad because it's a moving city. It moves because it needs to find new resources, which is wise.
Yeah.
John Carter, he sides with Helium because of the girl. He has no idea of the political situation between these two. He just believes whatever the girl tells him, even though throughout the film we don't see any evidence to back up anything that says that this side is particularly good or this side is particularly bad. Dominic West is the bad guy because we're just told he's the bad guy. John Carter saves her because she's going to fall out of the ship, But it's in the middle of a battle, and loads of people fall out of that ship before he gets involved. She's just the first one with tits.
True. And actually, Dominic West, when I think about it, he literally doesn't do anything bad. I was trying to think of it. I've been trying to think of an example, but he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, right. If Dominic West had tits, John Carter would have saved him.
Yeah, exactly.
And he would be on Z'Danga's side and listening to propaganda about how Helium are a bunch of dickheads. The point of contention between these two sides seems to be that the Dominic West's bad guy leader character wants to marry the girl. I can't remember her name and I'm not looking it up.
But he doesn't want to marry her.
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't really, does he? But he's been told that he has to by the Thurn, and she's been told that she has to by her father. Her father says, right, when we first meet the father, and her actually, he walks in surrounded by his advisors, and he says, right, we've been given an ultimatum by Z'Danga. What is the cost of saying no? And then 5 seconds later, when he dismisses his advisors, he turns around to her and says, the ultimatum is that you have to marry him, and by the way, you have to marry him. Motherfucker, 5 seconds ago you said that you didn't really want to do this. And now you've just turned around and said, you must do your duty, bitch. Go marry stuff.
He didn't want to look like a pussy in front of his mates. As soon as they left.
Yeah, he just says, yeah, no, we must resist this no matter what. Now fuck off. Marry the dude. So basically she spends the whole film like she has to be Princess Jasmined off. She says over and over again to John Carter, especially the bit where I turned off when they're in the middle of the desert. She keeps saying that she'll do anything for Helium. She'll give her life for Helium. Okay, marry the dude. I don't want to.
Not that.
Not doing that.
To be fair, she was taught hypocrisy by her father.
Like, she keeps going, I will do anything. I will give my life. I shall fight to the end. Okay, just marry the dude. No.
And I love the way she used the argument as well. I'll do anything. I'll give my life this one. And you should too, John Carter, who's never been here before and doesn't know anything about this culture and doesn't belong here. So why should you have to do this, John Carter? Why are you guilt-tripping him into this?
Yeah, because I tell you what, that's the point. That's a good point, mate. Because in that conversation, that's when she first mentions that the other guy will cause the end of the world.
Yeah.
In that conversation.
Really? Do you reckon she's just a massive liar?
Yeah, no, because you know that old Bill Hicks thing about the war in Iraq, and it's like no one in America really cares, and he's like, oh, Saddam Hussein's a really, really bad guy. Yeah, so? Oh, yeah, no, he's like killing his own people. Yeah, so? Okay, how do we get people enthusiastic about this? You know, Saddam, he kills dogs, he kills puppies. Fucker. We ought to get that guy. She does that to him. And that's how she gets it. It's pure propaganda. All of this is bullshit.
She's just a massive liar. She even lies to him that she can't translate that necklace. And when she could.
Yeah, totally could. Lying motherfucker. Also, she's been married off. Right, political marriages are normal here. And especially at the time that this was written. You would think if there's war between the only two cities on your planet, that a political marriage between the two of them would be the best option for peace, right?
Well, yeah. There's no third party to get involved. Well, John Carter.
But no, she's like, no, fuck that. I want to kill them all. I think you might be the bad guy.
Yeah. She's a liar. And a murderous, slanderous cow at the same time.
John Carter, the girl, and the Thurn daughter, Tharks and Thurns. I'm going to get that wrong way around multiple times. The Thark girl, who's played by Samantha Morton. They go off into the desert for reasons unknown, and they come across the temple of Isis, the river I don't know what it's called.
Isis.
The temple of Isis. I wrote it down in my notes, and I wrote Isis, but it auto-corrected to issues. So my note is the Temple of Issues, and I was going to correct it, but then I went, Yeah, no, that's correct. This is a temple of issues. So, right, they take a boat, and I was immediately like, hang on, wait 1 fucking minute. When she was talking to John Carter, and John Carter says, "No, I come from Earth. I come from Earth or whatever," and she says, "Oh, do you not have ships in the sky that sail on sunlight or whatever the fuck it's called? Do you not have ships that sail in the sky?" And he goes, "No, we have ships that sail on water." And she just looks at him like he's fucking mad. And he says, water, the open sea? And so she's like, I don't understand. No, that's fucking crazy. And then 5 minutes later, she's in an actual boat like it ain't no thing. It's like, motherfucker, you
lied about that as well? What the fuck?
You know what a boat is. There's water here and you're on a boat. You looked at him like he was fucking crazy 5 minutes ago for even suggesting the idea of water and boats and shit. And you're standing on one now like it's normal. Later on, by the way, because then I thought, oh, maybe it's because of the concept of the sea. That's what she's talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking as well.
But later on, during the wedding scene, the person who's officiating the wedding, she's talking about the mythology of where the moons came from, and you're nodding because you know where I'm going with this. She says that they were born from the sea, so you've got seas then.
Yep. Well, so where were they born?
So the temple thing, the title of this section, I've called it "The Temple That the Humans Have Never Seen Before, Even Though They Can Fly and Shit." Like, they can fly, they can see shit from the air, and she's looking up at this temple going, oh, I've never known such a thing could exist. You can fly, motherfuckers. You can probably... This is a water source as well. How have you not seen this before?
Water's pretty rare here, right? So when you saw that water, you probably looked in that direction a little bit. How did you not see the temple?
Anyway, they go inside the temple and they talk about this ninth ray stuff, which is the magical blue shit that... it's the weapon that Dominic West uses, which is basically a gun but slightly nicer.
Yeah. What the fuck is with that weapon, by the way? The technology, it's just... That blue stuff is just technology or something?
Seems so, and it also powers the amulet, but they don't really go into what it is or why the fuck anyone should care about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine if she's trying to make that invention right at the beginning, so if it could be an unlimited power source and somehow get their water back and whatever, then fair enough, but.
Yeah, and her invention, by the way, I didn't make a note on this, but her invention works. It gets sabotaged.
Yeah, by the Therns.
So it's not that big of a secret if she can just make a machine that does this shit anyway. I mean, it's slightly bulkier than their version, but fuck it, it works.
Yeah, exactly.
The Thern. Speaking of the Therns, they're gods who feed off life from multiple planets, because that's what in Mark Strong's explanation of what they are and what they're doing. Mars is dying, and one day they'll move on to Earth. Is the implication? And they've done it. Mars isn't the first. Earth won't be the last. They've done this multiple times. They just feed off life. Okay, I guess. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's. I guess you just kind of have to accept that because otherwise. No, you don't have to accept that. It's fucking bullshit. I don't understand who these Therns are, where they come from, why they feed off energy. Well, even if they feed off energy of planets, why are they trying to set up the leader of planets and shit? What's the point?
I tell you what. The only thing I did like that he did was when he's talking. When they're on their way to the temple, Mark Strong, he talks to Dominic West for a bit, giving him instructions on what to do, and then he's talking telepathically to his mates, going, "Oh, they're near the temple. We must intercept them." And it just gets really close up onto his face, and he just goes, "I'm there now," and then it pulls out, and he's just standing on top of the temple. But then he doesn't actually do anything.
Wait, does he? Can he teleport?
Yeah, he can teleport.
Ah.
So again, just go to the cave and kill him. He's just lying on the floor.
Yeah. I was just thinking. I didn't know he could teleport. I must have looked.
He teleports from Zidanga to the temple, but then at the temple he doesn't do anything other than tell the Tharks that John Carter kills a million of in 5 minutes,
and then becomes best friends with them shortly afterwards.
Yeah, their only thing seems to be to keep the ninth ray, whatever the fuck it is, secret, even though they're handing it out willy-nilly like candy, like they give it to Dominic West, and the girl builds her own, like we talked about. So, this is where they explain that John is just a projection, so he's just lying in that cave. Dominic West gets his girl. What's this? Oh yeah, there's some blah 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 blah. I think we're skipping a whole bunch of stuff here, but Dominic West turns up, and she gets taken back to Zidanga. So does John Carter, because he gets punched in the face again.
Yeah. Superpower.
And then he hides in the roof, and then comes out and gets punched in the face again.
His superpower, the inability to dodge a punch.
There's the big jump that he says, "Oh, I don't know if I can make that," and then he just does it anyway. And he takes that dude, that's like her guard or whatever. He's a general, but he doesn't really do anything. And he meets her, and she's wearing her wedding dress, and she looks down at it, and she's just going, "Oh, this is kind of embarrassing," and it's revealing, her outfit's revealing. I'm like, motherfucker, you've been wearing a metal bikini all the way through this fucking thing.
Yeah, we can see less of you now than we have throughout the whole movie.
Now you've got actual normal, vaguely normal clothes on. You've been rocking a.
It's probably because she's a warrior and now she's dressed all girly.
Bit of a time jump here. After some to and fro, John goes back to the Tharks,
who welcome him back with open arms.
Welcome him back with open arms, because there's a pointless power play by the dude with the broken tusk, who again he's in charge for a day and a half before John does this arena battle against actual white apes.
Which is why I thought maybe I made a mistake when thinking that Tharks called him a white ape. Because I was like, oh, there are actually white apes.
Yeah, I was thinking that at the beginning as well. I'm just like, white apes? Are there other animals on this planet? Because it seems like no. It's a big desert with nothing in it, except for you guys. There's no food and water. What are you guys eating, by the way?
Ape.
So, pointless power play. This thing with the other guy. Just cut that out. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, it was fucking irrelevant.
And because there's that guy. There's the girl who kept dobbing in the other Willem Dafoe's daughter.
Ah, yeah.
Who's just sneering from the side and you. Sorry to be racist, CG characters, but y'all fucking look the same. I don't.
They literally do.
I can't differentiate between any of you fuckers. So yeah, all of that is pointless. And then, like you alluded to at the beginning, he does his big rousing speech. He does his Jake Sully, Avatar, Last of the Mohicans, a bunch of other shit speech. It's the white savior thing of, this is the dude from outside who doesn't live here who's going to solve everyone's problems for you. But yeah, that very specific thing of going into a tribal community and like in Avatar, like in Last of the Mohicans, and saying, "I'll be your leader," and everyone yeah, lead us, Jake Sully. His name's not Jake Sully, John Carter. John Carter. John Carter. Write it down, John Carter. They go to Zidanga, but it's empty.
Right, because they've all gone to Helium for the wedding.
They've all gone to Helium for the wedding. Well, all the people? There's just one guy in the entire city. Yeah, no, they're out.
They don't have citizens, only soldiers.
Helium's too far away, apparently. So the Thark don't want to go because they'd have to fly there. And they don't fly for some reason. They don't fly, and I think they have some aversion to going in. They have an aversion to going into the temple. There's a whole bunch of shit that they don't do. It's exactly the same as the Apache with the Golden Cave. Again, little on the nose.
Some reason they wouldn't go in. It's almost like, Jeff, I don't know if you may have noticed this or not, but it's almost like the Tharks are like the Apaches themselves.
Are you saying that they might be a metaphor, or may I say, stand-in for something that's happening in real world at the time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's seems a little on the nose, and vaguely fucked. John goes to Helium by himself. He takes one of the speeders and he just goes to the city by himself. A city, by the way, he's never been to before.
And that can move.
No, Helium's the static one.
Oh, sorry, he's going to Helium. Okay, sorry, you're right. Okay, from the starting point of a place that moves.
So he fucks off by himself to a place that he's never been before, on a planet where there's only 3 cities, and he manages not to just die 3 days alone in the desert, not knowing which direction he was going in.
He's very resourceful, Jeff. It's another one of his superpowers. Because of the density of his bones, he has very good directional instincts. Like a homing pigeon.
He flies into the wedding, he goes straight up to the building, looks through the fucking window, no security whatsoever.
Even though all of the soldiers are there.
Interrupts the wedding like it's fucking Wayne's World.
Yeah.
And then Sedanga invade, because they're just waiting outside. They're just waiting outside. Does no one notice? It's a desert. Did you not see them coming?
Hide. Where?
Also, the main city is on a mesa that's linked to the rest of the land with a bridge. Blow the bridge.
Yeah, that would work. That would help, anyway.
Blow the bridge, you fucking dildos.
Or, like, barricade it.
The Tharks turn up, and they fight. They fight on the side of Helium, although I personally think they should have killed them all.
Yeah, they should have let them dwindle each other's numbers down a little bit, weaken them both sides, and when they're at their weakest, jump in and destroy them all.
So they have a big fight. Mark Strong and Dominic West, they both escape. They don't die in this.
Yeah. But to be fair, Strong can shapeshift into any form, even although he does manage to get caught. Because he keeps shapeshifting into the form of someone who's there, not only there, but actually he's being looked for by. Like, he turns into John Carter at one point. Like, what an obvious one not to turn into. You'll definitely be found.
I'll just disappear, you dick. Dominic West, though, he just skedaddles out of an open door.
Yeah, runs off with his tail between his legs. Because he doesn't have a super advanced weapon to use to fight. And without a super advanced weapon. Oh wait, he does.
So those two escape, and then John marries the girl. No one objects. Father's like, yeah, no, seems all right. This dude that we've never met before. Yeah, fine.
He was watching the father was watching the movie with us the whole time, so he actually did witness the entire everything that went on between them, and he realizes their relationship is very strong.
So he has his wedding. He has his wedding night. That's key. And then,
why the fuck did he randomly throw his pendant away? Just all of a sudden. As soon as he did that, I was like, well, something bad's going to happen now, isn't it?
He throws the thing over the balcony and said, right, well, now I don't have that anymore. And then he turns around and Mark Strong just grabs him and just goes, Jassoum, and sends him back.
Yeah.
Without a pendant. Why has it taken you so long to do this, Mark Strong? You could have done this at literally any moment before. You could have done this to any of the bad guys. You could have done it to the population of Helium if you wanted to, and just send them all to a cave in fucking Virginia.
In fact, let's assume that to do this earlier was really, really difficult, and he couldn't do it. Why doesn't he can just himself obviously go back to the cave and find the body? So it can't be too difficult to kill a dead, lifeless body.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Just go back to the cave and murk him while he's asleep. Anyway, John gets sent back. He wakes up in the cave. Bryan Cranston is a skeleton in the doorway?
Yeah, I was wondering that earlier, if like time has passed while he's been out of his body, or time moves differently between the two places. And while he's in suspended animation, maybe he doesn't age or some shit.
But why would it be different time frames? Because how long is he on Mars? Is a week at most.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to think of some. There must be some. How did the skeleton, the skull, happen?
Anyway, he spends 10 years trying to find another medallion. He finds another medallion, and then all of that shit from the beginning happens, where he's got a big, nice house, assumably from the gold, and he sends for his nephew. His nephew inherits his wealth and the diary. The nephew starts reading the diary, and that's what the story of the film is. And then he gets to the end, and then realizes that he needs to open the
Crypt.
Crypt. Thank you. I was trying to find the word for it. He opens the crypt, but then a Thurn turns up. John Carter, whose name again I forgot nearly, shoots the Thurn in the back because again they're just dudes. Then John tells his nephew, "Oh, well, cheers for that. Keep watch. I'm going back for more adventures," and then closes the crypt. And that's the thing. I think all of these films that we're going to look at for this, they do this right at the end. It's the cheeky wink over the shoulder, just go, "What adventures are coming next?" None. The title card comes up and it goes, "John Carter ... of Mars," and they have like a nice little logo thing going on, which was supposed to be the franchise's logo. Credits. Anything about the main film?
So yeah, I'm going to ask you a difficult question. What did you like about this movie?
That it ended.
Okay, that's not fair. That's cheating. What are 3 things you liked about this movie?
What are 3 things that I liked about this movie? I don't know. I don't think I liked anything in this movie.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
I'm going to say Mark Strong is the best thing in it.
Yeah, but even that wasn't that good. That was just the best thing in it. I do like Mark Strong, but I didn't even like his character in this. I didn't understand why his character was in this. It was shit. The whole thing was fucking crap.
Do you know the story surrounding this film?
Not at all.
All right, okay. Shall we go into the aftermath? This had a budget, $306 million. Its take home, $284 million.
Oh, not as bad as I thought. I thought it was like 80 million.
Oh, no, it wasn't that bad, but still, there's an 8 in there. Yeah, it did not break even. It is one of the most expensive films ever made. Adjusted for inflation, it's number 15 on the list of expensive movies ever made. It is also one of the biggest box office bombs in history. Do you want to guess which number it is?
1?
Yeah. It is the number 1. Still, it is the number 1 biggest box office bomb ever.
Still, good to be famous for something, eh?
The projected loss of this film is between $130 to $230 million. Disney's stock price went down because of this. That's where most of that loss comes from. It was wiped off the company's value itself.
Good job, guys.
Looking at the list of the 10 biggest box office bombs, 6 of them are Disney films.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks?
Well, yeah, no, they take a lot of swings, but fuck me, do they have a lot of misses in there. All top 3, at the top 10, 6 of them are Disney. All top 3 are Disney.
What are the top 3?
John Carter's number 1. Strange World. It's an animated film. It's quite recent, actually. Pretty much straight away went to streaming on Disney+.
Never heard of it.
It was post-pandemic as well. They could have put it in the cinemas, but they didn't. They just put it straight on Disney+. So no fucker watched it. And The Lone Ranger with...
Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp, yeah, thank you very much. I tell you what, also, out of the top 10 biggest box office bombs, Taylor Kitsch is in 2 of them.
Taylor Kitsch.
John Carter.
Oh, that guy.
He is the lead. He's the lead actor. Looking at his IMDb, his biggest 2 films are also the world's biggest box office bombs.
Oh, I saw.
This, the number 1, let's not forget, and Battleship.
Was Battleship a Disney movie?
Yes. No, it's not. No, Battleship is not a Disney movie.
Oh, okay. That is the one where they basically play the board game battleships with real ships and lasers from space. Yeah, Gene.
Over the years since this film came out, there's been a lot of talk about why it failed. Most of the blame goes on poor marketing. For a start, the film itself is based on a book. The book is from 1912 called Princess of Mars. It's fairly obscure, fairly old. I don't think many people outside of North America know of the book's existence.
Yeah, so marketing would have been useful, better marketing.
The book, though, is influential. Like, Star Wars took a lot of influence from the book. George Lucas has said that, oh yeah, no, it was an inspiration. It was one of the many things that I pulled from. So a lot of modern sci-fi was influenced by the book, but then the film appears, because not many people know the book, when the film comes out, it looks like it's referencing Star Wars.
Even though it's more original.
And all of these other things. So it feels unoriginal, even though it's actually based on the thing that influenced. So it looks derivative, even though it's not. It's based on the original thing that Star Wars and shit was based on. But everyone just looked at it and went, I'd rather watch Star Wars.
I'd rather watch Star Wars. Is that why it comes across as so inauthentic and like I don't know. Just I don't know. I couldn't suspend the fourth wall. Not the fourth wall. You know what I mean? Disbelief. I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't get into it like I can most other movies.
So yeah, when it came to the marketing, because it seemed they were afraid people were going to perceive it as derivative, so the marketing was purposely vague about what the film was about. So when you watch the trailers, you came away going,
huh?
I don't know what this film is about. What is it? Also, the title. It's just called John Carter. Why is it just called John Carter? Who the fuck's John Carter? It's not descriptive of what the film is about. The guy's not famous. It's a reference to a very obscure novel, which is called something else. What is this thing?
Well, they were probably hoping that the mystery of it would get people searching, and just a stupid name.
I read they were going to call it Princess of Mars. They should have called it Princess of Mars, but they said, because people won't be interested in watching a film about a princess. I'm like, you're Disney!
That's that's your thing.
It's your fucking business model. They were also gonna call, when they changed it to John Carter, they were gonna call it John Carter of Mars, what they call it at the end. Because that's what the logo is at the end. If you look on the poster for the film, in the bottom right corner, there's that logo, the JCM, which was going to be the franchise logo. But they just called the film John Carter. It was going to be John Carter of Mars from the beginning, but they got afraid and took it off. Because box office bombs list, going back to that, number 11 on that is a film called Mars Needs Moms. It's an animated film from Disney. It tanked. It was pretty much. It should have been like straight to video anyway.
Really?
But it did very, very badly. Like, it's a shit film, and no one was interested in watching it. And then the executives went, probably because of the Mars thing.
What about Mars Attacks?
They assumed that it tanked because of its connection with Mars, so they took the Mars off of the John Carter title.
It's because it has the word "from" in it.
So they changed the title from the original book because they didn't think people would be interested in princesses, and they took Mars off the title because they didn't think people would be interested in Mars, and because it tested badly.
Yeah.
So that's the main reason why it seemed to fail. Also, they kind of got cold feet before it was released, and they didn't do any, there's no toys for this. It was supposed to be their big new franchise. They didn't do any toys, they didn't do any tie-ins, they didn't do any deals with like McDonald's and shit. Even at the Disney parks, they didn't do events or anything for it. They did a TED Talk?
Because famously, everyone who's a movie lover also loves watching TED Talks.
They did a TED Talk, and I think the TED Talk is about the projection to Mars system, and that's what that's about.
Don't care.
Yeah, it's a mess. There's also a theory that one of the reasons why it failed was because when it was written in 1912. 1912's knowledge of Mars, like, you don't have really high def telescopes and shit, so you can't really. We know too much about Mars now to be able to suspend our disbelief that shit's going on up there. Like, we can just look at it and go, yeah, no.
Yeah, most of us.
So maybe if they changed it to like a different planet in a different solar system, maybe. But we know for a fact there's nothing there, so this is all bollocks.
Yeah, that's why that's another reason why Star Wars worked, right? It's a galaxy far, far away, and a long, long time ago.
Like 1912's knowledge of Mars, yeah, you could suspend your disbelief and like fantasize and shit, but now we can just look at it and go, no.
Nah. It's dead.
The only awards it won was for its soundtrack.
I don't even remember the soundtrack. Was it good?
I can't remember anything from it.
So obviously very memorable. That's good.
Afterwards, right, the full fallout of this. Richard Ross, the head of Walt Disney Studios at the time, he had to resign because of this. A digital effects company that did the work on the White Apes, they put a lot of money into the development of like the CGI, and they lost a lot of work afterwards because this bombed so hard. Everyone for a period avoided doing things with CGI creatures.
Oh, that's at least one good thing came from it.
Lynn Collins, who plays the girl, it was her first and last lead role.
Sorry, Lynn.
Taylor Kitsch had Battleship, but little else. And the director, Andrew Stanton, he went back to Pixar. He was an animation director, and then he did this, and it tanked really hard, and so he went back to Pixar. He's made other stuff since, but he's talked about this. This is still a thing that burns in his soul. He made Finding Dory.
Wow, that's quite a lot of lives changed just because of the outcome of this one movie.
All of the sequels, it was a planned trilogy. All sequels were immediately cancelled.
Fucking hell.
It was going to be revealed eventually that there's... You know how the moving city is drilling holes in the surface, but then it doesn't really explain why it's doing it?
I didn't notice that, actually.
Yeah, it's really quick. It's at the beginning of the film. It's revealed later that there's another race that lives underground that's super advanced technology and shit like that, and that it was kind of maybe an attempt to reach them or still. I don't know because everything was cancelled and I'm not reading the books. But yeah, this also marks the time period. It's not the reason why, but it marks the time period of when Disney started to do live action remakes of their animated films, like Cinderella and all of that. So instead of making something original, they seem to pivot all of their attention into, we can just remake our back catalogue. Let's do that instead.
Yeah, some of those live action things, I like Aladdin. I quite liked Aladdin, but I still think that even that was unnecessary. I mean, why?
Because they can. They've got unlimited. Well, not unlimited. There's only so many films.
There is one thing. Like, I know from my university students who all loved it, who've never seen the original Aladdin. It did get an entirely new generation to appreciate those stories. So there is that for it. Well, that's one good reason, I guess.
As far as Trope goes, it's exposition for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfectly good example of why some franchises don't get off. Bad marketing, bad cast, CG was good. From a bad source. What's the word I'm looking for?
Source material.
Bad source material, bad acting, shit storyline. Like, literally everything bad that you can think about is a good reason why this franchise didn't take off.
I had never read the Lord of the Rings books when the films came out, but Fellowship of the Ring I was not on board with at the beginning. It took me until Two Towers before I was like, oh yeah, shit, no, okay, right, I'm in now. I can watch. Not that Fellowship of the Ring is bad. I can rewatch Fellowship of the Ring. I appreciate Fellowship of the Ring. Fellowship of the Ring is one of those films where you go, I know what the ending of this is, so this makes the beginning like a bit sweet to watch. But because this one didn't go anywhere, and because it was a purely exposition all the way through, this is the world, this is how it works, this guy's important for some reason, and you're like, is it? I don't know. Why do I care? Why are we all trying to save this planet, which is just literally a desert except for these 3 cities?
And also doesn't seem to be any actual trouble.
Yeah, it just seems to be like a fairly small war between these 2 cities, which they're not even countries.
An unnecessary and easily stopped war as well. Just marry the guy, for fuck's sake. Oh, Lost Princesses, it's usually their job.
It's Dominic West. You're not doing bad there.
And he's a fucking king.
It also has this weird framing device with the diary on Earth with the nephew reading it. It's just like levels of complication that you just didn't need. Just get to the point, tell your story, and then fuck off.
Harsh. True.
I was just like, at the end, I can't even remember any of your names, including the guy who's named after the fucking film. Right, so that's John Carter. Next week we'll be looking at The Mummy with Tom Cruise. Cole, where can people find you if you wish to be found?
I'm on Instagram. I can never remember my name on it though. I don't need to be found. Fuck it.
You can find me on YouTube and TikTok at The Badger's Apprentice, and on Twitter at TBA_tweets. So I think that's it for now. We'll see you next week with The Mummy.
Peace out.